Pearson, DriveRight, 11th edition, Chapter 7, Alcohol, Other Drugs, and Driving. Lesson 7.1, Effects of Alcohol on Driving Safely. Alcohol is the most commonly used drug in our society. It is by far the most frequently used drug that leads to drivers to being fatally injured. Even though it is illegal for teenagers to buy or consume alcohol, they represent a significant percentage of alcohol abusers. For teenage drivers in particular, the combination of inexperience and alcohol can be fatal. All states enforce a minimum drinking age of 21. Laws against underage drinking and driving are vigorously enforced. Alcohol-related educational programs in schools and communities have increased. Unfortunately, despite these efforts to enforce laws and educate young drivers, alcohol-related collisions are still a major safety problem. Alcohol facts. Some people may not be aware that alcohol is categorized as a drug because it can be purchased legally by anyone over 21 years old. It is categorized as a drug because of the effects it has on the central nervous system. There are different types of alcohol, including ethyl alcohol or ethanol, also known as grain alcohol, isopropyl alcohol or isopropanol, also known as rubbing alcohol, methanol or methyl alcohol, also known as wood alcohol. Ethanol, or what is commonly referred to as alcohol, is found in the alcoholic drinks people consume. The effects of drinking alcohol vary from person to person. However, everyone who drinks alcoholic beverages is affected to some degree. One of the most serious problems of drinking alcohol is people who drink and drive. Even a small amount of alcohol in your bloodstream can affect your coordination and ability to think clearly. Alcohol and your driving ability. Regardless of the type of alcoholic drink, as soon as alcohol from even one drink reaches the brain, it affects the way a person thinks and behaves. The same amount of alcohol doesn't affect all people the same way. In fact, alcohol doesn't even affect the same person in the same way in all situations. The best way to avoid changes in your behavior and thinking is to abstain from drinking. Effects on the central nervous system. It may be surprising to learn that alcohol is classified as a depressant. Alcohol acts on the central nervous system like an anesthetic, slowing the activity of the brain. Alcohol is not digested in the stomach. It is absorbed directly into the bloodstream through the walls of the linings of the entire digestive tract. Once alcohol enters the bloodstream, it quickly flows to the brain. Alcohol has the greatest effect on the parts of the brain that control judgment and reasoning, the two most critical mental skills needed by drivers. Physical abilities become impaired soon afterwards. Effects on judgment and reasoning. A driver impaired by alcohol has a decreased ability to reason clearly and make sound judgments, even though the driver may feel that these abilities are sharper, quicker, and more accurate than usual. But in fact, the opposite is true. A person in the condition can develop a false feeling of well-being or euphoria. People who are in a euphoric state of mind may take chances they normally would not take, chances that may be deadly when behind a wheel of a car. Alcohol also weakens a person's inhibitions, the forces of personality that restrain or hold back impulsive behaviors. As alcohol content in the body increases, a driver's inhibitions relax to the point that the driver might drive too fast, take needless risks, or even drive into high-risk situations without knowing or caring. A driver whose judgment and reasoning abilities are impaired by alcohol cannot properly use the IPDE process or zone control techniques. The driver is less able to interpret correctly what he or she sees. Scanning scenes may become erratic and the target area may become unclear. Effects on vision. One of the most dangerous effects of alcohol is impaired vision. Impairment occurs in visual acuity, peripheral vision, night vision, color vision, and depth perception. Impaired vision combined with diminished judgment and slow reaction time can cause a driver to be in a conflict. For example, the driver in figure 2 might not be able to identify the pedestrian in time to stop safely. Visual acuity. After only a few alcoholic drinks, a driver's visual acuity and ability to focus become impaired. In addition, because alcohol distorts vision, it reduces the effectiveness of the driver's orderly visual search pattern. A driver who's been drinking is more likely to fixate his or her eyes in a state, thus hindering the scanning and searching process. The driver is likely to look straight ahead or at any object that attracts his or her attention. A driver who stares is unaware of vehicles that may be to the side or to the rear. Reflex action. Alcohol also affects the reflex action of the eyes. At night, this impairment can be critical. As headlights of oncoming vehicles come closer, the pupils of the eyes normally become smaller to shut out excess light. This reflex keeps you from being blinded by the glare of the headlights. When the lights have passed, the pupils enlarge again to let in all the available light. After a few drinks, this reflex action is impaired. The pupils do not become smaller quickly as the headlights approach, and they are slow to open after the bright light passes. As a result, the driver can be temporarily blinded and may continue to have blurred vision for some time afterward. Blurred vision. After excessive drinking, a person might see multiple images. Each eye normally picks up a separate image of an object. These two images are coordinated by the brain, so that the person sees only one image after several drinks. However, coordination of the images become impaired. When driving, the person might see numerous images of a roadway center line or a traffic signs. Depth perception. Alcohol impairs depth perception as well. The drinking driver may misjudge the distance of oncoming or cross-traffic vehicles and actually see a vehicle further away than it actually is. In addition, drivers who drink cannot accurately determine the speed or distance of approaching vehicles. These drivers even lose the ability to judge their own speed or stopping distance. Peripheral vision. Drinking also affects peripheral vision, narrowing it so the driver must turn and look to the sides for potential problems. Thus, not only is the driver unable to avoid hazards, the driver actually becomes a hazard. Physical effects of alcohol. As alcohol enters the parts of the brain that controls muscular movements, reflexes and balance begin to slow down. A driver who has been drinking alcohol may recognize a dangerous situation, but the brain takes longer to process the information and react to the danger. Muscular coordination becomes slow and clumsy. A driver impaired by alcohol might oversteer, brake late, or accelerate suddenly. As a person continues to drink, the center of the brain that controls breathing and heartbeat can become impaired. If a large amount of alcohol is consumed in a short period of time, the drinker becomes unconscious and death may follow. Long-term use of alcohol can lead to alcoholism and addiction to alcohol. Abusing alcohol or drinking inappropriately not only causes problems for drivers, but also has the potential to create problems for families and communities. Alcohol in the body. The amount of alcohol detected in a person's bloodstream is called their blood alcohol concentration, or BAC. The level of intoxication is determined by the percentage of alcohol in the bloodstream. Beer, wine, and liquor can be thought of as drinks. In standard sizes, all drinks have about the same amount of alcohol as shown in Figure 3. The word proof describes the strength of liquor. By dividing liquor's proof number by 2, you can determine its approximate percentage of alcohol. Factors affecting BAC. The percentage of alcohol in the bloodstream depends on the amount of alcohol consumed, the period of time over which alcohol is consumed, and body weight. The more a person drinks, the higher the BAC. A person's BAC rises more rapidly if less time elapses between drinks. If other factors are equal, and a heavier person may be affected less by the same amount of alcohol than a person who weighs less. To a lesser degree, some types of food in the stomach may make a difference in the rate of absorption of alcohol. However, even with food in the stomach, the absorption rate of alcohol into the bloodstream is rapid. When alcohol is mixed with carbonated beverages, the rate of absorption is even faster. The safest decision a person can make about drinking alcohol is to abstain entirely. Controlling impairment. Alcohol is absorbed in the bloodstream very quickly but is slow to leave it. Alcohol continues to circulate throughout the body until the liver oxidizes it. The body rids itself of alcohol at a rate of about 3/4 of a standard drink per hour. After consuming 3 drinks in 1 hour, a person needs more than 4 hours to oxidize and eliminate most of the alcohol. Remember, only time can reduce the body's BAC and a person's degree of impairment. Fact or fiction. Drinking black coffee, taking a cold shower, or exercising can make a drunk person sober. Fiction. These activities do not reduce BAC. The person may seem more alert, but the BAC is not reduced. 1 drink won't hurt. Fiction. Taking 1 drink can make it easier to take a second and third drink. Beer will not make me drunk. Fiction. 1 12-ounce can of beer contains as much alcohol as an average cocktail. Driving is easier after a few drinks. Fiction. Consuming alcohol diminishes your driving abilities. Young people cannot become problem drinkers. Fiction. Young people can become problem drinkers even as teenagers. There is no age limit to becoming an alcoholic. Reducing driving risk. As a responsible driver, you can help reduce the risk of drinking and driving. One way to reduce the risk of drinking and driving is to appoint a person to be a designated driver. The designated driver decides not to drink in order to stay sober so that he can drive without impairments. Although you're a responsible driver, your friends may decide to drink and drive. Responsible friends can encourage friends to limit their drinking by getting them involved in other activities, encouraging them to decide on a limit of drinks in advance, asking them to avoid drinks with high concentrations of alcohol, encourage them to sip a drink slowly so that they don't consume more than one alcoholic drink per hour, and making them aware of their behavior.